Vincent, there's been a mixed reaction from investors since BAE and the EADS merger leaked out last Wednesday. Are we any closer to this becoming a reality this week than we were last week?
Yes and no. I mean, this is obviously one of the most complicated mergers between two companies that has been announced, certainly since the financial crisis. Two very big, strategically important companies in their respective markets, with a lot of politics involved in two very sensitive sectors, defence and the making of aeroplanes. I don't think we're much closer, certainly from all of the evidence I have seen, although I think that, that the managements of both companies sound a bit more sort of bullish in what they can say. The trouble is that an awful lot of the details of the merger have not been agreed because there was a leak. They've been kind of constrained in what they can say, so they keep saying that this hasn't been pinned down or that hasn't been pinned down, so lots of details are awaited. But I think that I think everybody's just in a wait-and-see mode.
Right, okay. And is there any strategic sense to this merger? I mean, there's been lots of debate on both sides for and against this. I mean, what's your thinking?
I think that that there is a lot of strategic sense in this merger at a very high level, which is the creation of a sort of single European aerospace and defence company that would be able to compete with Boeing, which is the main sort of aerospace and defence company around the world. Boeing is incredibly strong in the US. So what you would have is an aerospace and defence company out of EADS and BAE that supplies half the world's airplanes, civilian airplanes, and a defence arm that is very strong in the US market, in the UK market, and in the Middle East. And that sounds like a company that would work pretty well. I think that it's at the ground level that this needs to work most of all. There are so many hurdles to be crossed: political, technical, managerial, cultural, all of those things. A lot of them intangible things, and it will require monumental amounts of management time to make it work.
Right, okay. So what should investors expect now? I mean, what's going to happen next? I mean, we're just sitting and waiting for more details, or...? We're
sitting and waiting for more details, and there is a sort of deadline of October 10th for everything to be sort of put out there on the table, and I think that, if nothing has been pinned down by that stage, I suspect that it won't happen, but I would expect a lot of detail to come out between now and then, and but a lot of things to be worked out in terms of who runs it, where it's based, who gets what in the wider division of the pie. I think that if I was an investor in one or both companies, I'd be holding.
Right, okay. So from a kind of high-level view, strategically, this deal seems to make a lot of sense, but there's still a lot of details to be worked out on the ground. Thank you, Vincent.